Yeah, some days I feel unfazed, like when I'm with my friends with a cup raised. And on Monday, I got a gun raised. Suicidal, do or die until hump day. Then I go right back at it like an automatic. More drinks, more songs, more beats to rap. I need a shrink, I'm gone. More time keeps passing. No watch, no thoughts at all. Just a hat, new era. Rep my P's and those O's. Need the Phillies with the orange and black to feel home. From Citizens Bank back to Camden Yards. It's a tale of two cities, and trust we go hard. Trust we go hard. Yes, we go hard. You said we go hard. I said we go hard. Rockin' my Bob Cousy, stocking up on the loose. The lyrics come easy, but the life is a doozy. And yes, I'm choosy, and no, I won't settle, but I still take pop off over that kettle. Cause I'm talking bigger picture, and yes, I'm gonna hit you with the...
The Australian Grand Prix is easily one of the craziest circuits on the current Formula 1 calendar. We have had crazy moments over the past couple years, including crashes, spins, minor incidents, major incidents, and World War III.
It's going to be close to contact, and Fernando Alonso is spun round by Carlos Sainz. Perez is off the road. It's Max Verstappen with the lead. Then it's Hamilton, and there's a crash in the back of the field. Into the wall goes Gasly, and it's absolute chaos on the restart. Oh, it's deep. He's deep. Stroll into the corner.
History lesson aside, I'm actually here in this video to talk to you about the season opener for the 2025 Formula 1 season, the Australian Grand Prix. Today, I will be taking you along for a full, in-depth analysis on the whole weekend, which includes Friday, which I was actually lucky enough to go to this in person, Saturday's qualifying, and Sunday's race. I will also be showing you the build-up to the Grand Prix weekend, for example, like the Williams fan meetup in Federation Square, and also a couple of other cool stuff that you see around the city, like the George Russell and Kimi Antonelli Adidas/Mercedes mural. Trust me, it's actually cooler than you think. Now, a few weeks before the race weekend, Formula 1 decided to launch a bunch of F1 LEGO sets collaborating with LEGO. This included the Red Bull Racing RB20, the Ferrari SF24 that helped Charles Leclerc get his home win in Monaco, finally, the Williams FW14B with Nigel Mansell's iconic mustache, and LEGO Speed Champions, LEGO City, and LEGO Duplo sets of every team's car. And since I'm a very fond LEGO collector, I decided to buy a couple of the Speed Champion sets. So here we go.
So you're telling me I come all this way
for the Speed Champion sets that haven't even been out for like 24 hours. It's March 2nd as I'm filming this. And the Ferraris and the Red Bulls are already sold out. There's VCarb, there's Haas, there's McLaren, there's Williams, there's Alpine, there's Mercedes, there's Aston Martin, and then there's the absolute tractor that was the Kickstarter. Anyways, I got the Mercedes. Aside from that, I actually did end up getting 9 out of the 10 sets. I've still yet to find the McLaren, but I'll save that for a later video. Anyways, moving on. As we go further into race week, we actually go to the Williams Fan Forum meetup in Federation Square. Now, as a resident of Melbourne, it was actually not so hard for me to access this place because I'm only like a 20-minute drive out of the way, and I live very close to Oscar's hometown of Brighton, which was very fun to know. After Williams, I go into Culture Kings, which is literally 5 minutes down the street, and I see the MCL39 in there. Wowee. And actually, even in there, there's a bunch of other merchandise, such as the 2025 Mercedes kit with Adidas, plus a Ferrari Carlos Sainz Miami 2024 suit, which is signed, Oscar's helmet from 2023 to 2024, and also Oscar's 2023 race suit, which was even more cool to find. And then I go into Emporium, and then I see that Mercedes has set the W16 on display, with George Russell's car. Yeah, the one that crashed last year.
Red flag, I'm in the middle of a track.
But let's cut the bullshit because I'm finally going to show you the whole weekend start to finish. First of all, I'm going to show you basically almost the whole of Friday because holy shit, this was a fun day. 6:45. Grand Prix, baby. Now, if you're already planning on going to the Australian Grand Prix next year, please take note of something called the Melbourne Walk. This is something that is actually only specifically for the Australian Grand Prix, where you actually get to meet the drivers and get some signatures. And as you can see, everyone is already sprinting towards them as soon as the gates open at 8:30 a.m. every single day. So my tip is literally get there as soon as you can to make sure you can get a good spot in line and then sprint to the Melbourne Walk. That's literally exactly what I did.
We are sprinting. As my good friend Daniel Ricciardo once said, lick the stamp and send it.
where these people are running as fast as these cars go. I'm in pain. Oh, come on. Come on. All I have is the hat. I'm trying my best to get the big time. Crazy. Trust me when I say that it's actually easier said than done to get a spot at the front for signatures, because I ended about 5 rows back, but I still managed to see Mattia Bonotto on the big screen, the Audi F1 overseer, like a whole project manager, and Zhou Guanyu, China's first ever Formula 1 driver, who currently acts as a Ferrari reserve driver. So I was really happy with that as a Asian. They're really making sing that shit. Young and free. I don't even remember the lyrics. Let us sing Advance Australia Fair. Okay, Melbourne Walk epic fail. All I saw was Zhou Guanyu because no one's there. So we're gonna head over to the quad lock stand. Actually, what the fuck is the quad lock stand? Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to move. I didn't think it'd be this crowded, but here we are. Also, Piastri official merchandise. Yo, this is crazy. I found the quad lock stand, and there's also a bunch of kids up there with the race suits. I saw them on eBay. Those go for like $150. Now I need to figure out how to get $150. Also, hi Lando.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Thanks everybody. So good to see you all out here, and yeah, the weather's turning on today at least, so it's nice to be back and nice to open the season here at home. So yeah, thanks for coming out everybody, and nice to see you. So I'll say yes because I know I have more hats now. Yeah! Signed quad lock. Alright, we can do that. Why don't we do that? Do you want... Right, I'm coming back up. We're going to sign some hats. Oh, man. Am I going to give this to the lady?
Someone's gonna sign you that says let's have a selfie.
There you are. Not sure. Not sure. I'm going to force that one. Why don't we sign a few of these just have a bit more of a chat?
Apologize for the crappy filming. It was a very hot day and I was losing my focus really quickly. Anyways, as we move on towards race week and race day, I went over to the fan forum stand where I saw Sauber doing a brain rock quiz, Yuki and Isaac Hadjar doing a radio guessing quiz, Carlos and Alex turning into temporary artists, and Lando and Oscar once again doing a British versus Australian slang quiz. That's getting very boring. And while all of that was happening, my mother decides to show up to the Grand Prix, go to the Melbourne Walk, and she managed to spot the legend himself, Charles Leclerc! Holy shit! But anyways, it's time for everyone's favorite part of Formula 1, racing, and I was absolutely loving it from my grandstand seat at the main straight. In FP1 we see Jack Doohan cause a red flag by spraying a bunch of gravel on the track, putting his career in jeopardy, and then we also see Ollie Behrman destroy his car coming out of turn 10.
The track, we've immediately gone red. That is the right call by race control. So that was through that 9-10 left right.
He's done.
They need to get out. The quicker they can get on the road, when that car goes wrong, they'll get back here.
It's okay, the car is safe as long as you're okay.
Anyways, after the session ended, I met up with one of my friends who was also there, and we walked to the other side to the fan forum so we could check out some talks. But the event was so bloody crowded that it took basically half an hour to get over there, and I almost missed the entire Zach Brown talk, but I was lucky enough to catch the end of Valtteri Bottas's. I also saw the new Ferrari F80 and a Red Bull RB18 on display, so that was pretty cool. FP2, Lando Norris overtakes Liam Lawson in the pit lane, and Liam Lawson gets absolutely heated. No wonder no one likes him. Ollie Behrman does absolutely nothing, and Jack Doohan does everything to make sure that he can save his career. Honestly, easier said than done. FP3, Ollie Behrman beaches the car on his first run, Liam Lawson has a failure, and Kimi Antonelli decides to show the world why he was chosen for the Mercedes seat. Then in qualifying, Liam Lawson gets knocked out in Q1, so does Nico Hulkenburg and Kimi Antonelli, and Gabriel Bortoleto, in his debut race, goes into Q2 with a Sauber. But after all that, McLaren picks up where they left off and goes for a front row lockout with Lando Norris on pole and Oscar Piastri in second. Alex Albon qualified in P6 and Yuki Tsunoda qualified in P5, knocking Liam Lawson out of the water and basically destroying Helmut Marko's brain that he was unable to process the emotions that happened the next day within the Red Bull family. But finally it is race day, and everything that could have gone wrong basically went wrong. First of all, it was raining, and Isaac Hadjar immediately spun on the formation lap, and he was an absolute emotional wreck. Personally, I can actually relate to him. I know how it feels to screw something up pretty quickly on your debut, and I know it's very emotional, but Helmut Marko decided to say it was embarrassing, and Helmut Marko has no emotions, which is probably why I said it, but Anthony Hamilton, Lewis Hamilton's father, the man that he is, decided to go confront Isaac Hadjar, give him a hug, and consult him. What a man. Then, when the race actually starts, Jack Doohan crashes, Carlos Sainz crashes right as the safety car comes out. So basically all hell broke loose and Max Verstappen overtook Oscar Piastri. Then in lap 8, the safety car ends and the race restarts. And it's kind of chaos. Verstappen goes off, Oscar Piastri manages to get back into second, and the racing is a little bit boring. Then Ferrari decides to pull a Ferrari.
Is there a leakage?
A leakage of what?
I have the seat full of water, like full of water.
Must be the water.
Let's add that to the weather filter. Yes.
And yeah, that became another meme of the Ferrari that we know and love today. Then lap 30-ish, Fernando Alonso decides to crash out of the race. Safety car comes back out. Race restarts. Lap 44, both McLarens go off. Oscar Piastri almost beaches it in the grass, but then after one lap he decides he's not going to retire and gets back out of the grass. What a Chad! Then the safety car comes back because Liam Lawson and Gabriel Bortoleto both crashed. Yeah, Liam Lawson, you're not safe anymore, buddy. And the race begins once again. Then Lando Norris wins by less than a second to Max Verstappen. Now let's be honest, what did I think of this race? Well, all I have to say is that it was the definition of chaos. FP1 was crazy, FP2 was heated, FP3 was not exciting but still pretty interesting. Qualifying was crazy, and the race was all hell on wheels. And I have to say, for an Australian driver so close to the podium and then just making a small mistake, and then another Australian driver making a small mistake and not even scoring points and not even finishing the race, that was a bit of an interesting race for Australians. But I have to say that this race was still pretty interesting. So overall, I'm going to say that I still enjoyed it. If you guys want to see my full POV of the Friday that I went to, I'll probably upload a video on that soon. But until then, please make sure to hit that juicy subscribe button and make sure that YouTube doesn't find the swearing that I did and gets me demonetized. So, thank you.
Yeah.